What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Scott is back. He's not wearing a Mets hat. I do this every time he wears the Nets hat, but it still confuses me to this day because I see it,
basketball net behind it.
I see a cursive N and an ETS, and I think, that must say Mets. Anyway, it's a Nets hat. Scott, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
When Logan and I recorded Monday morning, the only information I had from you was a single text message that said, RV flipped over, cannot record tomorrow, everyone's okay.
Yeah.
I've come to find out there's a lot more to this story than I just explained, and then I explained on the Monday episode. So I apologize if I made light of anything. I didn't make light of anything on Monday, but I certainly did not talk about it as seriously as I should have, knowing what I know now.
Yeah. No, you had no idea about anything, and I think you guys covered it to the best of your knowledge. That you're lucky I got that text message out and just didn't.
Knowing what I know now, yeah, I'm very lucky
for that. So first of all, I just sorry for missing Monday's show. I hate missing shows. I even texted you that. I was like, I feel sorry for leaving you on an island.
I feel like the only time we've missed shows is either like we're out of the country, which has been very few and far between. One of us has a baby and can't do it, and then otherwise we've been here.
Yeah, no, it's so it was crazy. And again, just the first thing, there's a bunch of people that listen to the show who have reached out, and I appreciate it. The show has obviously produced a lot of people that have come into our lives as friends, and with the common bond of Yankees, and it means a lot, and I appreciate everybody's well wishes and all that. So first and foremost, family's safe. Everybody's in a good spot physically, which is a fucking miracle, to be honest. So I'm going to keep this relatively brief, and I'll skim through it just so you understand what happened. We rented and went Airbnb. It was an Airbnb. It just so happened that it was this decked out, like really nice RV that was stationary, not driving, stationary at the top of a mountain. And it was on like a horse ranch, which is the thing that I told you, because I sent you a picture of Kemp on the couch, like with the horses in the back.
It looked beautiful.
So
mountains, horses in the background.
Absolutely gorgeous. Top of a mountain, like the Blue Ridge Mountains right there. Like it was amazing, beautiful place until it wasn't. And then, so we were up there, and I was literally Sunday night, 6:00. I was grilling a steak. I was watching the Yankee game on my laptop. Great Wi-Fi, like I mentioned. The Wi-Fi was strong as hell. Like 300 up, 300 down. Like we were gonna cruise, no problem. I was shocked when I saw that, and so watching the Yankee game, and then started I saw some clouds coming in, and which is weird because the clouds are like at your level almost when you're up there, and so packed up the stuff, went inside, left the steak on the grill. Hopefully this thing just blows through, doesn't kill my charcoal, and I can finish grilling my steak and eat. Which was the plan. Went inside the RV, and all of a sudden the wind started picking up, and everything started getting a little bit more sketchy. Bevan's voice was different, and I could tell when she was looking out the window, she was just like getting more concerned. The wind started picking up like fast. Moved everybody into like the center area of the RV, which was like right by the bed. It was like a king size bed, kind of a smaller walkway, narrow walkway with a dresser against the wall, and then it started getting really sketchy. Kemp was on the bed for a second, pulled him down. Within 3 to 5 seconds after that, the thing started shaking and shaking. We're all huddled together, and then it literally got knocked over. It tipped over on its side. The whole RV flipped on its side by the winds, and the door, the windows, all that stuff now is on the ground. And we're just like looking around, I'm making sure everybody's okay, just kind of shell shocked. And then, quickly after that, we were stuck in there for about 15, 20 minutes or so. Bevan went to one side where she could fit, and we couldn't get out. It was blocked completely. And then the bed had flipped over on our back, and it was like on my back. So luckily it actually used us as a pivot point for the bed instead of sliding into us.
The bed meaning a mattress or like a frame too?
A frame, the whole thing. It flipped over, and like a platform bed, and it flipped over and kind of made a lean-to against the wall, if you could picture that, with us underneath it. So like an A-frame kind of. And yeah, so we were, that protected us, I think, from anything that was like flying, even though like this area had a lot less of that. It's kind of why I wanted to go into this spot. It was like a little tighter. I felt more secure. So I made sure that the bed that was like kind of stable. So I started wiggling out of it, and it was stable enough where I felt comfortable where I could move, and crawled into where the bathroom was, ended up in the shower stall. And really the only opportunity for us to get out of this thing was there was a skylight that was like 7 feet up. And I just started wailing on this thing, and, just trying to get out of it. It's like a plexiglass skylight. And so started wailing on it, could tell that I could get through it.
Were you punching it, or were you hitting it with something?
I was punching it as hard as I could.
Like, did you wrap a towel around your hand?
Not at first. I eventually did when I realized my hand was getting just completely torn up. But it was... I was just in a mode like get the fuck out of here, get my family safe, because the electrical was still on. There's propane tanks in this thing. It's a big RV, so like there's a lot of things that could go wrong. If a fire were to have started in any capacity, it could have been a lot worse. So yeah, I was just in like get the hell out of here mode, and broke through it enough where we could fit someone through, put more towels over it so that the sharp pieces were kind of covered, and then I lifted Bevan up there, and she was able to like do a pull-up and get through it. Had to finagle her body in a really weird way that was not comfortable.
From the picture, that skylight didn't look big. Like it's
not that big. It was not that big. They're not meant to be human beings coming out of them. So she got through it, but she would have been head first, and there's like an 8-foot drop on the other side. So she had to hold up there, and I had to like push her leg through. Really hard, like to a level where you don't feel good pushing someone's leg through, but it had to happen. She got through, dropped down, was able to get on the other side safely, and then I passed Kemp through, and he was able to get received by Bevan on the other side, and then Maddie was there with us as well, the dog, named after Don Mattingly, and she was just like, she was scared. And
where was she during all this?
She was with us. That was like Bevan was given like Kemp jobs, throughout to keep him, and he was cool as a cucumber, man. Like this kid was crazy, just calm and like listening, and we all just kind of, it's game time. It's like we need to get out of here. We need to work together. Let's get out of here. And Maddie was just there, looking at us like, what next? What next? Yeah, what's happening? Shaking. So I didn't feel comfortable getting her through that top skylight area because she was squirming, and she would have gotten cut by the. Yeah. And who knows what would have happened on the other side, because she would not have been, she was not a cooperative participant in this case. So there was an air vent, like one of those like fan air vents that you see. There were a few of those around, but they were smaller. But I think I could get her through. So I started wailing on that thing, and finally got through like the plastic part, got the fan broken out, but there's a metal frame that was like a circular metal frame. But I was able to get her through that, which was lower and just an easier, move for her, so she was safe. Got her out, and then I proceeded to get through the skylight and just finagle my way out of it. So then we're out, which is great, but we're still on the top of a mountain in a bad rainstorm, and it's lightning. So like we gotta go. We gotta get the hell out of here. I don't know what's going on with the RV. Again, gas, electrical, like who knows? So let's get away from it. Go down. We went down the mountain, down the.
You had your car keys though.
They were in there. No, they were in the RV.
Oh,
we had nothing.
So you had to
I had no
walk.
phone. No, we were barefoot. We had nothing. We couldn't get to anything. We were in an area that was completely blocked off by, things that fell. Went down the mountain, and at the bottom of the mountain, I was going through a fence with Maddie, and turns out electric fence, got shocked. No shoes again, so I'm grounded, so it made the shock that much worse, which was cool. Kind of just like, okay, that was dumb. Keep going.
Yeah, what's the third thing? Bad things happen in threes.
And I was like, here we go. Guys, we're not going through the fence. So we had to go like, further down the road to a gate that we came in through the car. So opened the gate, got out there. Thank God someone drove by. We're in the middle of absolutely nowhere, so not very many cars or anything, but someone did drive by. And boy, were they in for a surprise, because I'm like in the middle of the road. Like, You're not getting by me. You're going to have to stop the car. it was a, you know, I don't know, like a 20-year-old kid, and he was going to a party, and he was about to take us to the party. I'm like, no, go this way.
No
He's
way.
like, because there's Wi-Fi. I'm like, you live around here, right? Can we go to your house?
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but fucking
Yeah.
20-year-olds.
Oh, I laughed when I saw it because he was driving. I'm like, where are we going? And I've seen way too many movies and like TV shows where I'm like, you know, I'm not trying to end up in a basement with you know, without a doorknob. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, there's already a bunch of shit that's gone wrong here. I'm not trying to make this worse. So there was a neighbor down the street that I saw. There was looked like a nice house, and like a bunch of cars were there. I'm like, go there. There's
so that was
there.
the neighbor or the owner of the?
So it was the neighbor, and then eventually
the owner's
so
house.
To make a long story short, which is I know too late, but got to the
like
neighbors.
People would rather hear us talk about this.
Got to the neighbors. You know, strangers knocking on the door, like, hi, help. We have nothing. They were very nice. You know, gave us warm blankets and towels, and gave Kem some pizza. And just like, and then they called the neighbor. They went to get the other neighbor who was the owner of the thing. So they came over. Ended up going back. I had to go back up because we turned off the electrical. I had to get Kemp's medicine out. So I went back in to find the medicine, get the medicine, come back out. You know, the paramedics were called to do checkovers for us. We ended up going to the hospital just to get everything checked out. And we all got discharged later that night. I think I got discharged at like 2 a.m. And got
so you messaged us you must have messaged us when you were at the owner's house, because I think you messaged us around like 9 o'clock at night.
Maybe. I didn't have my phone. I didn't have a phone until much later. So, which is crazy in today's world. Like, if I were to give advice to anybody for this, like, memorize some core numbers. Don't just rely on your phone, because I didn't have my phone, and it was terrible that I didn't know anybody's number to get in touch with anybody.
Well, do you know Bevan's number? I know that wouldn't have helped.
I know Bevan's number, but that wouldn't have helped
I was thinking the numbers that I know. I know both of my parents' cell phone numbers, and I know Leanne's cell phone number.
I know a bunch of landlines from back in the day still. I can tell you what my home phone number was growing up. And the only numbers that I remembered were a couple of buddies from college, because they have the same cell phone numbers that they've had since then. And, you know, I used to have to dial it. So I sent them random text messages from random places saying, this is not a scam. It's Ryan, like, pick up, but call me back. I'm trying to get in touch with my brother to then get in touch with other people.
That is as harrowing an experience as you can possibly
It was crazy.
Have. So I know you sent a picture, what looked like a tornado hit.
It was, yeah. So it ended
up
up
hit by a tornado.
Yeah, we're pretty confident it was a tornado. There were definitely tornadoes that were identified in the area. There were no warnings of any of that. I mean,
how would you have been warned though, even if there were warnings?
Those emergency systems that come out, they know they.
Yeah, but I thought you said you have no service
location
or anything.
No, we didn't. So it would have been a problem. Yeah. Either way, like, and it came so fast. Honestly, it came so fast. Yeah. So, you know, all the things that they say, a tornado is like a freight train. Like, hell yeah, that's exactly what it was like. It was just loud as hell, chaotic, and then it was gone. But, you know, the rain and the lightning, all that was still happening, but the winds slowed down.
Is that a freak thing for, like, I mean,
it must be, because I've never heard of them like that high of elevation either. So it could have been the beginning of a system. It could have been.
What did the owners say about that? Because they've obviously, were they like, oh yeah, sometimes the weather gets bad up there, but like never.
I mean, they've had this thing up there for almost a year and a half with no issues.
Never,
so
yeah. Did they still charge you?
Did get a refund.
I was gonna say,
so
I better get a fucking refund.
Um,
My God, man.
But yeah, you know, thankful that, you know, we could have made 50 wrong decisions, and thankfully our intuition took us to the one that was the correct decision as far as like where to go, what to do.
You're talking about how your adrenaline is just taking over in that moment.
My adrenaline was
get people out of there.
Crazy. I've never felt it like that in my life, and it would make me feel very like after I couldn't calm down. Like not that I was like, I felt a little manic almost in my head, and I just couldn't like sit still. I was just so wired. Because man, look, I mean, like you were like, did you punch? Did you put it didn't matter. You just like, I just had to get out. So yeah, I know.
I mean, it's easy for me to ask these questions.
No, I know.
6 days later, but in the moment,
right?
No, I don't know what I would do. I would probably do the same stuff you did.
You just go crazy until you just
whatever you do to get out of there.
You go in survival.
Survival
mode, the hell that
absolutely. So, last thing, and we'll move on. The RV flipped over. You said it flipped over on the side with the couches, so that's not the side with the door to go into the RV?
No, it was on the side with the door. On the side with the door and all the windows. There was no exit.
The other side of the RV, there's nothing like...
There is, but then that's up, right? And
then you're on top of it. How are you going to get off?
Like, for instance, the picture that I sent you was of Kemp on a couch. So RVs have slides, right? So you have an RV that's going down the road, and then when you park it, you can slide mechanical out and make everything bigger.
So that got crushed in.
Yeah, so if we were in the other spot where we were 5 seconds before that, it would have been a big problem.
Probably.
And then where the other side was, where you're talking about, it was up in the air. So if you look, you could see the picture. It was up in the air.
That's pretty high up. So you're
we couldn't even get to that area anyway. So literally, the skylight was the only way to get out.
I know a tornado's like still gonna probably rip something up, but like, is the RV like chained down or anything? Like, what is anchoring the RV when it's sitting there? No,
it's not. So I have questions about that. But yeah.
Wow.
So
wow.
Happy to be here.
I'm very glad you, Bevan, and Kemp are safe.
So am I. And Maddie. Don't forget about Maddie.
And Maddie. I texted you. I was like, "How's Kemp doing?" Because I was like, and you're like, "He's a freaking champ." He's wild. I mean, that kid's had he's been through a lot for a 6-year-old.
He doesn't need another thing. But yeah, he's just he's a trooper. Yeah, he was the man. He was the man going through it. He was cool, calm, and collected, like just doing the things we asked him to do. Not panicking. He was scared, but we all were. We just at one point I remember saying, I was like, "Oh shit, this is real." Like I said it out loud.
Like when it was flipped over already, like when the winds were coming through.
No, when you're just like,
because everything probably happens so fast. You're standing up straight
you're
one moment,
shocked.
and then you're flipped over a half second later.
Yeah, well, we were huddled down. We were like squatted down, so like trying to be in a position where if something did happen, like we would be able to like absorb it. And in the place where we didn't fall far, so that helped us a lot, I think. And then,
I mean, I don't know how you thought to go to that spot in the moment, but like that legitimately probably saved your lives.
100%. And I don't know. I just like did a quick scan, and like intuition took me there. Yeah. So it's crazy, and me just like screaming at everybody to come with me fast, like now.
Well, next time you rent an Airbnb, rent something.
It's not going to be an RV. It's going to be something that has a foundation. Yeah.
I don't know how we transitioned to talk.
The Yankees lost that day. They were winning 2-0.
Oh, that was the Sunday.
Clarke Schmidt.
That was the Sunday game against San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah. So Clarke Schmidt also didn't come out of that too well.
Yeah, we'll talk about Clarke Schmidt. So, but let's cover the 3 positives from the Anaheim series first. They obviously won the series, but once again, I don't know how many episodes in a row. Pretty much every episode in the month of May, LeMahieu continues to be the number 1 positive every time he pitches. And on what day did he pitch? That was the Wednesday game. 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, 95 pitches, economical through 8 innings. This was the game in which Boone was tossed in the first inning, which we'll talk about that weird play in a second. But I was listening to Boone's post-game press conference, and he was talking about how he had to like scramble to find a TV to watch, and he's sitting there watching. He's like, I'm nervous when I'm not in the dugout, but he kind of alluded to the fact that like LeMahieu like calmed his nerves because he was so electric in the game. So really impressive performance again from LeMahieu.
He's fun to watch, man. Like, again, I'm glad that he's been on this list for multiple times. I got no problem repeating him being on this list because he's been that good. I mean, he's legitimately a Cy Young candidate guy, candidate to start the All-Star game. Like all of the things you want to talk about, LeMahieu is up there with everything. And now we're not talking about rookie stats. We're talking about best in the league stats. And, I mention this every time I see it, and I love it. The high changeup strikeout. He was even throwing an 88-mile-an-hour changeup up in the zone. And
but did you see the one slider on a strikeout he got? I forget who it was to, but he threw a slider. It was like above belt high. Fooled the hitter because the hitter's not sitting on a slider belt high. But they showed him walking off the mound, and he was shaking his head like that was not a good pitch.
Yeah. So his demeanor from start 1, start 2, start 3 to now is just, it's crazy. He's just oozing with confidence, and I love it. And, I know we've talked about him in the fastball, but it's just that good where he doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to throw it. And it's got good late movement. It's 98 miles per hour. And then you drop
you drop anything off speed
up in the zone, like you're screwed because it looks like a fastball and you're out. You're 10 minutes in front of it.
Right. But at that point, when your fastball is so good, as a hitter, you have to be ready for the fastball. So you have the luxury of, if you can throw and locate near the plate anything off speed, whether it's a changeup, whether it's a slider, even if it's both and they're mediocre, you can live because your fastball is that good.
Yes. And that's exactly where he is. And he's been economical. And, something that we talked about in the past is the walks with Luis Gil. Obviously, that's been his Achilles heel as he came. His Achilles heel. Wow, I just realized that.
No, we've made that joke before.
Have we? Okay. As he came up, I got electrocuted like 3 days ago. Right.
Sorry, I'm
going to use that.
I'm not going to not
long.
give you shit this episode just because you got electrocuted.
The walks, like, I have no problem with them because, again, you look at base runners, the guy doesn't give up base runners. He doesn't give up hits. He
doesn't give up hits. That's the thing.
You have a couple walks in there, and it's fine because it allows him to be free with not having to be too perfect. And you're seeing now that guys are having a harder time laying off those, where I think, in the beginning or, the first time he came up before his injury, he had to be a little bit more perfect because there wasn't the respect factor for the other pitches. But now it's an established respect. Like you got to respect the fastball for Luis Gil, and you got to get out of your comfort zone as a hitter a little bit more. So, the balls off the plate are getting more swings and misses. And if he's not doing that, if he's having to try to be too perfect, then that's when he gets in trouble. That's when you start, the fastball doesn't have the same juice. It doesn't have the same movement, and off-speed stuff doesn't have the same effect. When he's free and easy and that's where he is right now. He 100%, whoever's helping him on the back end and confidence-wise, and like if Matt Blake is giving him all of this counsel in the back, like he's doing a tremendous job because this kid is doing everything right at this point, and it's just fun to watch.
So, but 2 hits and 2 walks in 8 innings. That's nothing.
And it's economical,
95
even with the
pitches.
walks.
Yeah, 95 pitches. Like we saw earlier in the season, he'd be at 90 pitches, 4 2/3 innings, like struggling to get that out into the 5th inning at 95 pitches.
Yep. And if something's not right, like he's got the confidence that it will be right, and just go back to the fastball. Just go back to the fastball, and that's such a safety. And when you have that and it's dominant, sky's the limit for this kid. Really, it's that impressive. And he has been Garrett Cole with Garrett Cole being on the shelf. I mean, he's been you could ask for the best possible case scenario for Garrett Cole, and it would be Luis Gil's stat line.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. DJ's back. That's the second positive. He came back for Tuesday's game from his injury. He played all 3 games, went 2 for 9, no extra base hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. I obviously, the numbers are going to take maybe some time to start producing. He did score on a sac fly in Thursday night's game. Looked to be running okay, running like
well.
normal.
I'd say he was running well. It looked like no limitations at all. No hesitancies. I started reading body language in there, and I saw nothing that looked like a guy that has any type of foot injury.
With also with Birdie being down, which we talked about last episode, they absolutely needed DJ to come back when he did, be able to play third base, be able to play first base, give Rizzo some time off. We're going to talk about Rizzo. He hasn't been great, but yeah, it's much needed good timing for DJ being back.
Yeah, again, stability, that's the biggest thing for me. And the fact that Rizzo hadn't really had a day off either, and hasn't been able to take a backseat even through struggles, like probably doesn't help him much as well. So having DJ back, giving a true backup first baseman, with Cabrera being able to go over to third, like there's just a lot more stability in that infield. DJ obviously is a Gold Glove anywhere you put him. And you saw that just like instincts with him, making that tag at third base. you know he's going to glove a ball and make a good throw. He's just he's that guy. Even last night with the bat, just peppering it through a hole that he saw in the infield. It's just nice to have him back and looking really healthy, because he does bring a stability, stabilizing factor not only to the infield, but as we're seeing him
to the lineup,
whether he's
to the bottom of the lineup, which
6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range. I know you and I like him as a run producer as well, which he in
when
situations
he's going well because he puts bat on ball, and especially
Yes.
I mean, it's probably less so needed in this lineup because this lineup is way more balanced than the Yankees have had in a long time, but especially in that 2020 2021 time frame where DJ was one of the only guys in the lineup that wouldn't strike out a lot and would actually put bat on ball. We're like, yeah, get him up with guys on base because you need contact with guys on base.
Yeah, and the fact that Volpe is taking that leadoff spot with and just hung on to it, and there's no sign of him ever leaving that spot in any point.
Yeah, I think at this point
right
too,
now.
he's fits better for the leadoff spot
For sure. With the construction of the lineup,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you have the ability to stick a really good bat, and whether it's get on base or move a runner or get a fly ball or get a base hit. Like, I have a ton of confidence with the bat in DJ LeMahieu's hands, and I think it does bring a lot of stability and just extra pop even at the bottom of the lineup, because you're at home with DJ LeMahieu too. I mean, he could pepper a ball into the right field stands as well as anybody because he's got such good bat control. So
you know what DJ LeMahieu can do? I'm going to do my Justin Shackle voice first. He can give you professional at bats, Scott.
Professional, that's exactly what he is. He's a professional AB. Even you see it with a couple hits, but also 2 walks. The guy is. It's very good to have him back, and obviously a quiet veteran leader over there.
The third positive, Alex Verdugo's defense in left field has been excellent. He leads the American League in DRS, and he's second in baseball behind Marcus Semien, first among outfielders with 9 DRS. Actually, so he's doesn't lead the American League. I guess he leads the American League in outfield DRS, but second in baseball and for any fielder behind Semien. Made some nice plays
which is
this
great.
weekend.
Footnote about
this week.
Footnote for Semien too. He was an all-time bad defender when he was with Oakland. All-time bad defender.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's up at the top of defensive run save.
That's a nice move from short over to second.
Yeah.
But Verdugo has really provided good left field defense, which is at Yankee Stadium also key because it's huge left field.
Yeah, you saw it in the first game, with the first inning with Nestor. There was that line drive down the left field line, and Verdugo just made it look so simple because his first instinct, his read of the ball is excellent. And when you're playing outfield, I think that's one of those things that doesn't really show up as much in the scorecard or in highlights is that first step. But that first step gets you in position, obviously, to make plays that a lot of guys can't. And he does. His first step is excellent. He's able to read the ball off the bat as well as anyone. And we knew he was a good defender, but I didn't realize how he's got elite defense. He's bringing elite defense to left field right now.
The first step, the range, the sprint speed, those things show up in the advanced metrics, which is proving out by his high DRS. They don't, but then you're like, oh, but I don't see him making diving catches and sprawling catches. It's like, well, because it's like the old cliche. I never saw Andrew Jones make a diving catch because he never had to make a diving catch.
Exactly.
He was camped under every ball because of his instincts and his first step out there. So
yeah, no, you're right. That's exactly it. And watching him just glide and use his instincts to get to where he needs to be to make a play is awesome. And he was running full speed, into that left field. Towards the left field line, not knowing that stadium well. A stark difference from Adele, who last night watching him go into the right field corner with Judge up and not know where the wall is, be hesitant,
Anaheim has it's a pretty standard outfield, but at the same time, down the lines is tricky because of the way the wall.
Yeah, but if it's your home stadium, you should know it.
I guess if it's your home stadium, you should have a pretty good idea. Yeah. All right, we're going to get to the negatives. But first, if you've been thinking about learning a second language, then I have a great deal for you. Babbel is offering our listeners an amazing deal that you're going to want to listen up for. I've said this before, and it is true. Being able to speak a second language is one of the coolest things. If you're not able to go travel to another country for weeks to learn that new language, which is understandable. The best way to do that is with Babbel. Babbel is great because their convenient courses fit into your hectic schedule. Lessons are only 10 minutes long, and they are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel is designed by real people for real conversations, so you can order food, ask for directions, and converse with the locals like you are an actual speaker of that language. Babbel has over 16 million subscriptions sold, plus all of Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. That special offer that I spoke about is 60% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Bronx. 60% is an amazing deal at babbel.com/Bronx. It is spelled Babbel. Rules and restrictions may apply. A couple negatives from the series, 3 to be exact. Anthony Rizzo's
3 is a few, a couple is 2.
Okay. Anthony Rizzo's defense once again cost them in Tuesday's game, and for whatever reason, it wasn't ruled an error ultimately. I think there's some conspiracy with the scorers this year where I feel like it just doesn't, like...
I don't even know where they're going to go at this point. Yeah.
How is that not an error?
I don't know, because I guess he left his feet in some way, like he was low.
He fell down, okay? He fell down.
He didn't fall down. He was getting in a better position to field the ball, like it was intentional.
That's an error, though.
But it wasn't. It was an error. And you ask him, and he would tell you.
Of course, to his credit, he's like, that play needs to be made, whether it's
anytime a ball hits you in the heel as you're ranging from left to right, that means you're there.
Yeah. And that could have absolutely, I mean, it did cost them the game on Tuesday, and then his defense on Sunday, which was the game before that, with the bunt he couldn't field. So that was 2 games in a row, just bad defense. And like we saw it earlier in the year, bad defense from him, and then it seemed to be cleaned up. But if you look at his advanced metrics on the fielding side, he is also struggling. So I'm pulling up his...
He made the same play later in the series, too. I forget who was pitching at that point.
Yes, because he makes that play in his sleep.
It was almost an identical play. It was a little bit further. He was behind the bag, but made the play and then made the shovel pass to the pitcher, as he does. So...
Yeah, so he's -1 outs above average. That's the 34th percentile. It's very bad. His arm strength is also not good. I guess it's not as key for a first baseman. His running, his sprint speed is bad. His fielding run value is 44th percentile, which is, I guess, middle of the pack. But again, Anthony Rizzo's been a top echelon defender in his career, and he's just not been that this year. And we've talked about his offensive numbers being bad, but like offense being bad, not really producing any power, and then defense costing you in some key spots there, because, I mean, Weaver's out of that inning if that play is made, and you go to the 9th.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because the ball. First of all, Kevin Pillar is like one of the best hitters in baseball right now.
And against the Yankees, he's a Hall of Famer.
That's true. But that ball, it reminded me of the ball that was hit off of. Oh my God, why am I blanking right now? He was looking for the ball in, and he cheated in to hit, because the ball, there was the sinker riding in on the hands, and he cheated in. You could see where his stance was, like he was wide open, and was able to turn on that ball with absolute ease. And he crushed it, because you don't see the ball get lifted like that with Holmes, and that's why you saw Verdugo get beat over his head, because you just don't see that happen against Clay Holmes very often. But to his credit, Pillar was cheating in and able to barrel that ball up and hit it hard. So
yeah. So I don't know.
Chad Green. It was the Chad Green
with
home run given up against Houston.
Yeah, that was against Yuri. I think Yuri Gurriel.
Yes, that's right. It was a fastball in, had no business getting hit out, but clearly cheating on the inside.
Clearly cheating on the inside. Clearly cheating on where the pitch was going to be. Probably.
Also cheating on where the pitch
what the pitch was going to be. Yeah,
multiple levels of cheating on that one.
With DJ back, though, I guess gives Rizzo some time off to hopefully get him back on track. I don't know.
I'm wondering how much that comes into play. How much does that actually come into play with the amount of games played and not having the ability to have a day off?
He had a day off on Monday.
He's had a couple of days off recently because Cabrera's gone over there and played as well. And
Monday they didn't play. And then Tuesday he makes the bad play, so whatever.
Yeah, he was off last night too.
Volpe's hitting streak ends at 22. He was 0 for 4 on Thursday. He did still get on base, so the on-base streak is still going. What is the on-base streak at? It's a few above the hitting streak. I forget the exact number. He's got a long way to go if he wants to reach Derek Jeter's 54 on-base streak in 1999. But since May 7th, Volpe is hitting 326, 369, 526. That is 31 for 95, 4 doubles, 3 triples, and 3 home runs and 11 RBIs in that span. So it's over at 22.
Good for him. He had a so now is where not that the hit streak necessarily correlates with. It's not like he was in a hot streak and now he's going to slump. That's not the way it works. He's just start a new hit streak.
Oh, let's see.
But again, like this is you look at what the judge comments to me are telling about this, right? Judge comes up and talk about Volpe saying because they were asking him about this once he was going. He's using the whole field. That's one thing that jumps off the chart. Judge said. That's what I saw in all the videos when he was going through the minor leagues, gap to gap, a little pop to the pull side, opposite field, and we're finally starting to see that this year. It doesn't matter if it's 2 strikes or the first pitch of the game, he's driving the ball up the middle of the field approach. Shout out to Cam Mailbag. Driving to the right side and doing it with guys on base. He starts the party for us at the top. And yeah, again, broken record here, but he's getting a ton of pitches over the plate. Now is his job to do damage on it, and he just is.
Interestingly, though, the StatCast numbers aren't super high on Volpe's offense. Expected weighted on base, expecting batting average, slugging, average exit velocity, bat speed, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage, all blue, meaning not great. K percentage, walk percentage, middle of the pack. His whiff percentage, meaning just like raw swings and misses, is in the 67th percentile, so that's pretty good. His chase percentage isn't great either. Like nothing. I mean, obviously he's producing results. So for any classic baseball person out there, shut up, nerd. Like I don't care about the expected numbers. The actual numbers are good, and I agree. I get that. I found it more surprising than anything that a lot of these numbers are not good on Volpe because the results have been good, and usually when the results are good. And it's not like he's only hitting dribblers through the left side for his hits, right? Like he's hit, like to Judge's point, he's lining balls the other way. He's hitting balls all over the field. He's got triples. He's got extra base hits.
I think that's part of it. You mentioned dribbling balls to the left side. Usually you're not dribbling balls to the left side unless you're completely beat as a right-handed bat, but he's going the opposite way. So, just looking at what that would look like, you're not hitting the ball as hard. You're not pulling the ball. You're not barreling it up in that way. You're playing baseball like you would, practice. You're peppering the ball over. It's a little bit more like DJ LeMahieu type stats. They're not sexy, but they do what you're given with the defense. And again, yes, he relies on his speed quite a bit, which I love when his helmet flies off now. Now that I know that it makes certain people upset, it makes me very happy. I smile every time I see it go off.
Well, I said last episode, he just needs a chin strap. Keep it on.
No. I want it to fly off. I want it to hit his heels and fly, and him.
That slows you down.
He always goes to try to catch it, and he never does.
It slows you down, though.
Or does it? Maybe it makes him faster.
Yeah, but before it falls off, it's not aerodynamic, and it slows him down. Wind resistance.
Well, yeah, but then he makes up for it with no helmet. Okay.
We don't want him sliding into the knee of a fielder, getting a concussion or something like that.
He actually did. On that triple, he slid.
Oh yeah.
But he protected himself and didn't look like there was much bad contact. But so I would expect like these numbers across the league too, because there's so many pull side guys that are probably hitting the ball harder and making sexier statistics for all the nerds to be lower. So it does make some sense to me when you look at the batting run value. I don't even know what the hell that is, but it's
just what he's actually produced. Which is good. He's produced. That's
the only number I care about.
I know. It's mainly the number I care about. I accidentally went to Anthony Volpe's StatCast page. I meant to go to Rizzo's page to look at his defensive numbers, and I went to Volpe's page by accident and didn't realize it. And I was looking at the numbers, and I was like, this isn't Rizzo. He's 99th percentile for outs above average. What is going on here?
Then you go to Baseball Reference, and it's like a Ouija board to go to like negative stats.
This is not Baseball Reference. This is Baseball Savant.
Whatever. Any of the other nerd sites too. All the nerd sites.
By the way, the person you were saying that it annoys when his helmet flies off, that's Neil Keefe. Just
yes.
In case. Yeah. Okay. All right.
A little smile goes to my face every time his helmet flies off now.
All right, the last negative from the series. The infield fly rule having a bad couple days. So obviously the thing with Soto, but also the game Baltimore versus the White Sox from the other night where the interference was called again, which I thought was even more egregious than the Soto play. So apparently infield fly rules are considered live balls.
Well, they are. They are.
I know they are.
We knew that.
But at the same time, if
you advance at your own risk.
But if a fielder drops it on purpose, that's not
the
a
whole point
live
of an
ball.
Infield fly. He can drop it on purpose if he wants to.
But that is still an
out. Yes, but it's a live ball.
So it's kind of a have your cake and eat it too situation.
Look, the situation that happened in that first inning, first of all, really horrible timing for it because the Yankees were
bases loaded, nobody out, first pitch pop up by
worst time
not
you could
great.
possibly find. And the ball, you couldn't have placed it better for the defense. And I'm not going to say that what's his name, Nito, was there wasn't a little bit of gamesmanship where he knew he knew where he was, he knew where Soto was. You can feel where the players are, and then he had to back up to get the ball, and it just so happened that he tripped over Soto. I would not be surprised if they in the dugout they're like, "Nice job!" Like, yeah, I knew he was there.
Well,
that will never get admitted, but it's just one of those field plays and
so obviously,
heads up play on his end, to be honest. But there was nowhere for Soto to go. He had nowhere to go.
I know. So this is a but Boone even admitted after the game, by the letter of the law, it's probably the right call by the umpires, and
yes.
It is. But now you have to say, like, is the letter of the law the correct thing here? Because Soto did not venture out of the base path to interfere with the fielder. It just happened that the ball was hit into the base path.
In fact, he tried to get out of his way.
So basically what this is saying is the fielder has the right of way, which I believe we knew. I believe that is a rule.
Of course he does. Yes, we know that.
But I think what the umpires ruled was Soto, it was called interference because Soto did not get back to the bag fast enough. Had Soto rushed back to the bag and been like on the bag and then the fielder tripped over him, I don't think that is ruled interference.
No, if you're on the bag, it's literally base.
Right. It's right. And if you're not, floor is lava.
Floor is lava. Yeah. It was just I mean, you couldn't have been more perfect for a screwy play than what happened in that moment. But see, this is where there's got to be, like, the whole point of having a human being out there is a lot of these rules have a level of gray that is called discretion. And the umpire understanding what is happening in this moment, infield fly, batters out. Okay. The runner, no one's trying to take advantage of a rule. No one's trying to advance. No one's trying to do something screwy. He's trying to get back, and he was actually trying to avoid what the fielder, because the fielder was camped, and then all of a sudden he started backpedaling because the ball was behind him. The wind took it, or he knew exactly what he was doing and kind of backed up into Soto, understanding that he could get 2 outs in that moment. Which again, the rule had been in focus because of the game in the Baltimore game. So again, it's not surprising to me if that was intentional. Good heads up play on his end. Not gonna fault him for it. Something I would do too, most likely in that moment. And it was just unfortunate for what happened, because Soto, if you look at it, was trying to avoid the runner at the end. And yeah, he could have gotten back a little faster, but that's if you do have it discretion, that's probably would have been the ruling. He should have got back faster. That would have been the, because discretion. If it's not, for me, discretion as an umpire is infield fly rule.
Intent,
was
if it's intent, then how do you know what his intent?
There was an
attempt.
But
how do you know what his intent is?
There was an intent. There was an attempt, a concerted attempt to get back to the bag. He was actually on the bag when the guy tripped. So technically. He was on the bag.
Yeah, I agree. Soto was trying to get back to the bag, and that's all he was trying to do, and avoid the fielder while doing it. But what I'm saying is,
because if he stands there and he catches it and tags him, he's out.
Then he's out, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if you don't have it as a black and white written rule like it is, and you open up the gray area, then you open up for chicanery with fielders and runners doing crap. And then how, as an umpire, do you tell, my discretion says he was or was not trying to interfere with the runner? See what I'm saying? Like, then you.
But that's exactly what this was. You could also say that, like, he was camped under the ball. He knew where Soto was.
But Soto wasn't on the bag when he tripped over his foot. Had he been on the bag when he tripped over his foot, it would have been a
if he had gotten back to the bag though, he may have interfered with the fielder. That's kind of the point. If he had got back earlier, he was right there in the base path almost. He was an obstruction getting back.
It was a perfect storm.
It was a perfect storm.
Bag, runner, fielder, ball, all converging at the same time.
Yeah, and when you're like playing basketball or any sport really, you can feel the other player, but you don't have to look. You know where they are. You can feel them. You can smell them, and he knew where Soto was. So you're telling me he didn't go a little bit slower and just like work his way back to a point where he knew that he could get some contact. That happens a lot. But that's again heads up play.
I mean, Verdugo grounds to first
bad
base.
situation for Anaheim. Bases loaded, no outs with Giancarlo standing up. Bad situation. So, they needed to get out of it in some way, and he did. So,
the ironic thing is Verdugo's probably a double play ball on the next at bat out of the inning with if it had only been one out.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Pitch selection could have been different at that point too. A lot of things would have been different.
All right, and so obviously the bad news of the week is Clarke Schmidt placed on the injured list with a right lat strain, 4 to 6 weeks of no throwing. This is likely an August return because if it's 4 to 6 weeks of no throwing, assuming he is healthy at that point, he's got to then ramp back up. This is a lengthy injury. He underwent an MRI on Wednesday. This revealed the strain. He pitched on Sunday in San Diego and did not recover well, and I guess raised some concerns on Monday or Tuesday, and then they had the MRI. So that's terrible news. I guess we can stop hypothesizing about who comes out of the rotation when Cole returns. Literally, I know we said this at the time, and we've said this about Dominguez too. This always happens. Somebody always goes down when the other guy is coming back. It never fails in baseball.
It's true. Like it sucks to say this because that means an injury happened, but it's like clockwork. It's such a long season that things do happen, and usually a lot of these things sort themselves out. So this is why you have depth. This is why you have you bring up young guys and have the ability. And this is why Luis is just that much more important to what this Yankees team is, because if he comes out of the gate and isn't pitching well, or if Schmidt hadn't pitched well early, like this becomes a much bigger issue, because if Heal's not pitching well, now you're getting a rotation of Heel getting sent down probably, and Will Warren and just like Cody Petit, and whoever the hell is going to come up.
You've got a rotation of bums coming up.
You have a AAA number 5 spot, but that is not the case because Luis Heel is pitching out of his mind, and is has created now, and the Yankees have created. You got to give them credit for developing him in a way, and the trade even going back to when they got him from the Minnesota Twins. Like this is depth. This is what depth looks like on the major league level for a rotation. It's hard to keep 6 guys happy or even
healthy. It's hard to keep 6 guys healthy
or stretch out any of that on the major league level.
No. Yeah. And so, this makes the decision for them. And then when Clarke Schmidt's ready to return later in the summer, guess what's going to happen at that point? Because it seems to always happen, but we'll worry about that then. Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Clarke Schmidt, especially because he was durable last year. Like, he made every start last year. And so that was at least something you could sort of hang your hat on as a fan and as the Yankees, be like, okay, at least even if Clarke Schmidt isn't the most effective pitcher, which he was very effective this year, he's going to be a solid every 5th day kind of guy.
Yeah, and it's not an arm injury either. Like if we're looking glass half full here, and I know every muscle's connected to
lat
the
seems
shoulder,
kind of important for
the
a pitcher,
lat,
though.
Connected to the shoulder at some point. Like there's strain there, but again, it's like it is not an elbow injury. It is not a direct shoulder injury. So if we're looking for glass half full, like this is a
he's already had his Tommy John.
He had Tommy John out of South Carolina
College.
when he was drafted. This is something that seemingly you can recover from. Again, muscle strains are funky sometimes, and maybe they don't cooperate. But when you look at it, like all things equal, he should be able to make a recovery, and we'll see him back in August. And you're right, like at that point, who the hell knows? Who knows what's up with Heal's pitch count at that point? Who knows what other injuries are happening? But in theory, we're getting a healthy Clarke Schmidt, who has been very good this year, coming for the final stretch. So it could be worse.
Did you listen to the episode Logan and I did last time?
I listened to a little. I listened to what the hell you said about me. That was and then I stopped.
Well, we played a game. If there was a playoff series starting today, what the rotation was, and at the time we said Clarke Schmidt would probably be the odd man out because you're only going with 4 starters in the playoffs.
So you got Cole, Rodon.
No. At the time, Cole was.
Oh, you're saying without Cole?
We were like. We kind of used it as a basis to like who would come out of the rotation when Cole returns. We're like, who's the odd man out if the playoffs started today, right? And they have to go in with the team that as it is now.
Yeah. Well, you line Nestor up for a home start, and
that's what I said. Yeah.
And then Schmidt's probably the guy.
Yeah. So we had said
playoffs are different though than thinking about that as a regular season decision.
No, it is. But we were saying Stroman for game 1. Logan made the point. He's a veteran. He's been there, not going to be overwhelmed by the moment, and kind of trust him more than Rodon in a game 5 situation. Nestor for game 2 because you're going to be home because you've got the best record in the American League. Rodon for game 3, Heel for game 4 is what we settled on.
I would probably go Heel. You don't want Heel at game 1. I would rather have Heel at game 1 than Marcus Stroman.
I mean, if you're just going on who has pitched the best, obviously it's Heel, but you have to take into account he's a rookie. He's into a playoff series, and you'd also
no
be
longer a
relying on
rookie
him
at the end of the year, though. No longer a rookie at the end of the year. I would 1,000%.
That would be a
Heel.
That would be a big. I don't want to call it roll of the dice, but that is like a here's my nuts on the table kind of decision, because you also would be relying on him.
Do you want Marcus Stroman throwing twice, or do you want Luis Heel throwing twice? He's the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. That's to me that's. At home, we're assuming a home series, 100% Luis Heel. I don't want him throwing on the road.
I just feel like with Marcus Stroman, you're going to get 5+ good innings, and
and that's something you need on the road, right?
Or you need it in game 1 to command a series. Nestor's been dominant at home, so you can hopefully leave home 2-0, and then Rodon, whether he shits the bed or is good, because that's
agree to disagree. This is one of those Buck Showalter moments where I'm leaving my best pitcher on the. Outside of
for David Cohn to pitch 147 pitches, then have an aneurysm in his.
No.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Buck Showalter with the Orioles.
Oh, thought you were talking about Buck Showalter with the 95 decision to leave David Cohn out there for 147 pitches.
No.
So, do you think that the Schmidt injury impacts the timetable for Cole? Because last episode we were talking about how you can take your time with Cole, even if it's July. Who cares? No need to rush him to get him 60 pitches in the major leagues. Let him take his time.
I don't think it changes anything. I think you just need to stick with the schedule. There's no rushing it by any means, but I don't think they are at all. He's scheduled for a rehab start at this point. That's what the schedule is saying. So
what I meant is because they would have had the luxury had everyone been healthy. It's we don't need to have Cole make a start for 65 pitches in the majors. He can do that in AAA or AA again, and then when he's at 85 pitches, he can make his first start. But do you think
that's only one rehab start then? That's a week.
Yeah, one rehab start.
I think you bring him up as you would no matter what. I don't think this changes anything. I think they need to stick with the plan. And if they're going to bring him up so that he can throw 85 in the big leagues, then you do that. If they were going to bring him up to throw 65 in the big leagues, then you do that. So I think whatever the time frame is, I don't think this should change anything at all. The Yankees can get by with shit. We're dealing with house money right now with how the pitching staff has gone. So the last thing you need to do is change timetables because someone went down with your ace, coming back. He will know when he's ready to come back, and he will communicate that. I trust him thoroughly, and I trust him more than I trust any of the medical staff. That's for sure. I think that he's probably dictating a lot of what's going on here and just sticking with the plan. And I don't think there'll be any rush. I think when he comes back, he'll be ready to come back, and I'm pretty confident in that because I trust him, and I trust him doing the right thing for his body. I think that he's got that. He's got that leadership mentality where he understands that one start doesn't mean anything at this point. He needs to be here for the long haul.
So I think you're right. I think it was the doubleheader that Poteet came up against Cleveland.
Oh yeah, he was probably the extra man.
Yeah, he was the extra man. All right, we got a few more.
And he pitched well. Yeah,
he did pitch well. Yeah. Whether you are a world-class athlete or podcaster like us, we understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. That's why we love that Unified Healing is sponsoring the Bronx Pinstripe Show today once again. Unified Healing is a new and innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're in the New York City area or hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you are interested in experiencing the EE System technology, go to unifiedhealing.com/Bronx to learn more and find a center near you. It is spelled UNIFYD healing.com/Bronx. No material or testimonial on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System. All right, San Francisco series coming up. The Giants are actually playing well, 10-3 in their last 13 games. They rank 10th in WRC plus with a 104, 26th in ERA, which is bad. Yankees will face Blake Snell, who is rocking a 10.42 ERA.
Man,
Blake Snell. I was looking.
Huh?
Montgomery's stats aren't great either, but he's got like a 4.50 ERA or something like that. But Blake Snell, boy,
10.5. Yikes.
I was talking to Tyler. Tyler Chin works at Blue Wire, who's a big Giants fan. He's like, he was like, people in around the Giants were touting Blake Snell for having a great start. And it was like 4 innings, 3 runs.
Yikes. That's yeah. I mean, he'll probably pitch well against the Yankees, but you look at that's a formidable. Get rid of the statistics on Blake Snell, and he's the reigning Cy Young. You got Jordan Hicks, who's having a very good year, surprisingly very good year. Logan Webb, and then Snell. So those are the 3 that the Giants want to throw against the Yankees. So it's going to be tough.
Last time the Yankees went up against a hot team was Minnesota, and they swept them. They mopped the floor with them.
Minnesota.
All right.
You know,
what did I say?
I'm just saying it's Minnesota.
Oh. All right, couple quick things on just May numbers for the team, and then we got some mailbags. So the pitching staff overall pitched to a 2.50 ERA in May, 2.06 for the starters, 3.43 for the relievers. It's just, that is otherworldly good. Like, of course, you're going to win a lot of games when you're pitching to a 2.50 team ERA. The offense was 2.61 batting average, 3.33 on base, 4.69 slugging, 8.02 OPS. I mean, 130 WRC plus for the offense over a month of baseball. When you've got a 130 WRC plus and a 2.50 team ERA, you're going to win games.
You hit 45 home runs in the month. Yeah, that's the month of May was unbelievable for the Yankees. Obviously, led by Aaron Judge, who is starting to break, or getting amongst the leaders in monthly statistics of the New York Yankees.
24 extra base hits for Judge in May, 12 Crazy. Doubles, 12 home runs.
Yeah, and he's leading the majors in doubles. Is that right? Logan said that earlier, I think. That's and he's approaching his career high. So the guy's spraying the ball not only over the fence.
Juan Soto talked to him in spring training. He's like, home runs are cool, but doubles are good too. He's like, I
doubles
hit
are
doubles
great.
all
I
over
love
the
doubles.
park.
Doubles in the gap are my favorite thing.
That's why you loved Miguel Andujar so much.
Yeah, it's true. Dom Mattingly used to hit. Was a double machine as well back in the day. But I love a good double. It's an exciting play. It's fun to watch.
Do you like triples better than doubles though?
No, because triples are weird sometimes. Usually there's like a weird kick off a wall.
Usually a triple is because the fielder made a mistake.
Doubles are just like usually a lot of times hard line drives in a gap. Yeah. And just they're sexy. They're good looking.
Triples, the ball bounced off the corner weird.
Triples are fun. Yeah. Triples are a lot of fun because helmets are usually flying, especially Anthony Volpe. And you got just guys scrambling somewhere. A lot of there's going to be a play, most likely at third base, so they're fun. But a double in the gap is just feels good. Just feels good.
If you look at the offense overall, like the offensive leaders for the month of May for the Yankees, when you've got Volpe, 823 OPS in the month, Soto 975 OPS in the month, Judge a 1350 OPS. Right there, that's three players, all elite level OPSs, and then Verdugo, Stanton, Glaber, and Trevino, all in the mid 700s. Trevino, I messed it up.
Trevino, you said it right. You're
Trevino.
Trevino is
Trevino is the catch, the pitcher. Trevino,
yes.
Yeah. So I mean, 6 guys in the lineup, 6+ guys in the lineup producing. On the unfortunate end of the month, Rizzo, not good, 598 OPS. Oswaldo Cabrera struggled as well, 578 OPS. And Austin Wells, 530 OPS. I know Wells had a big hit in the Anaheim series, a double into the gap. And I know we've talked about his StatCast numbers being good. StatCast likes Austin Wells. It's just still the numbers have not been there.
StatCast loves Austin Wells, hates Anthony
Doesn't
Volpe.
like.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah, but Judge
Good
coming
point.
back from
Touche.
coming back from that April is as they said, that's why he's the captain.
All right, mailbags before we wrap up. Lee Jones, our buddy from Liverpool, England, says, "Hi guys, just wondering what your thoughts on the Nike City Connect jerseys, especially as it appears as though the Yankees have opted out of the concept. I think that the vast majority of them have been absolutely terrible, and Nike is often justifiably maligned in football, soccer, for trying to be too creative and clever in their concepts instead of sticking to classic, simple designs."
Yeah, look, old guy yelling at clouds here, but I don't know how the Utes feel about the City Connect jerseys. The majority of them I hate. I think the Philly ones are just egregiously awful. And if I were a Philly fan, I would hate it. Even the Boston ones, like I know that they're the colors of Boston, but they're bad.
The yellow Boston ones?
Huh?
They're the yellow ones, right?
The blue and yellow, yeah. Actually, the same Phillies are the same color. Like I looked at it, I was like, I didn't even know what team it was. I thought it was like the Diamondbacks. They all remind me of the Diamondbacks. I think.
Can I admit something?
Uniforms. Yeah.
I don't give a crap.
You don't care, I know, but I like looking at the aesthetics and stuff. And I agree with Lee. I agree with Lee with the classic. Like I would love for these City Connect jerseys to make more, tip of the cap and odes to the classics, to the historical.
Well, they've done that though. They did the throwback, like
then
teams do throwback jerseys.
Yeah. Just continue, but you could still do it with the City Connect. You can make little nods to things.
This is merchandising.
Yeah, merchandising.
I know you got the reference, Scott. But Logan, do you get that reference?
No, he has no idea.
Spaceballs.
And I don't know if I'm still on an island with how people feel about the Yankees away jerseys, but I really like them. Like the fact that they are
except
terrible
for the sweatiness.
Actual jerseys, yeah.
The material's
comes
not
through
good.
and changes them to like 5 different colors of gray. That's bad, but the no stroke on the outline and the simplicity of them, I like it because again, kind of a throwback to where they were in the days of Mickey Mantle. So I think they do look cool, and I'm glad they didn't participate in some crazy looking things because when they did do this at one point when they had that Dodgers series, if you remember.
The color, what do they call those? What did they call those?
The color rush.
No, color rush was Thursday Night Football years ago, but
but they did something like that, and they were all black uniforms,
called,
and the Dodgers were in all white uniforms, and it looked so
bad.
Stupid.
The Yankees one looked especially bad.
The Dodgers one looked stupid too. It was all dumb, and you had 2 of the most like historic franchises where you could just you put a throwback in there and a classic look, and it looks like absolutely beautiful to the eye, and they screwed that up. So, I'd like to see more odes to the classics. Go hire our guy John Contino to design more of these City Connect jerseys, please.
All right, next question.
Next mailbag. And Lee, I will be in London in a month plus, so I don't know where you are in relation to that, but I'd love to get a beer.
Am I going to need a fill-in for that week?
Yeah, I told you about this a little bit.
No, you didn't.
I mentioned it.
No, I didn't listen.
Here's your notice.
James says, I know Cole's return has us all speculating about what's going to happen with the rest of the rotation, and you think Nestor will go to the bullpen. The brass will probably do something bizarre rather than expected, and it hit me that they'll probably keep Nestor in the rotation and have him back up Cole while Cole is ramping up his pitch count. Something like Cole for 80 pitches followed by Nestor for the rest of the game wouldn't surprise me. They'll keep them both in the rotation for a while and hope that one of the other guys gets injured so they don't have to actually make a decision. My question this week is regarding the trade deadline. Do you think the most likely place to add is the pen? And I agree, but what about the order? Could you see Cashman trading Glaber or Verdugo, both rentals, and some prospects to try and add to the order? Dominguez could replace Verdugo, and Peraza or Cabrera could replace Glaber. I admit it's unlikely, but the team playing this well and guys coming back, it's hard to imagine how they'll add at the deadline. It's definitely in the pitching depth still, the rotation depth, and like we just saw Clarke Schmidt go down. Hopefully no one else goes down, but you never know. There's still a lot of time before the trade deadline. Gleyber Torres has absolutely no trade value at this point, so what's the point there? And Verdugo, we just talked about, like, playing really good defense. Not been
Lefty bat.
The best bat, but been a contributor in the lineup. Like, there's no point to trading him unless you're upgrading by trading him, but I don't see how that's possible.
No, I think Verdugo is still he's a big piece of what this team is right now, and he adds balance to the lineup as well. Like you're giving the ability to have a lefty righty balanced lineup, especially when that comes to the playoffs. And man, like beating a drum here for this and like a dead horse, but the lineup, the offense in the past, in the recent past, in the Yankees history has been the problem in the playoffs. They have not been able to score runs. So being able to create better situations for your lineup to match up against certain guys is to me a huge priority walking into the playoffs. And Alex Verdugo creates the ability for Boone to at least have those decisions, or Osmus, whoever's making the real decisions. But yeah, I think that the bullpen is still the place where they're looking. I'd put a note in here. We're kind of keeping a list of guys that I'd like to potentially add. Obviously, the kid from Oakland is the one that everybody's looking at. He's controlled. He's like unhittable right now. He's going to cost a lot. So we'll see what happens there. But like a cheap guy, we just saw him, Hunter Strickland. He's been around for a little bit. I've wanted him in the past. He's pitching well. Veteran guy, can come in there. Right-handed pitcher to get some outs. I think that he's a guy that they could get really cheap and could add to a bullpen like that. But like that's where I think they're going to add more depth pieces on the bullpen side of things.
Yep. Kevin Lee says, "Hey guys, has the good start to the season changed your opinions at all on Boone? Maybe I'm just riding the good vibes of a successful start to the season, but I find myself complaining far less about him. I'm also willing to cut him some slack for not having a well-constructed roster over the past few seasons and place most of the blame on their past struggles on Cashman. Am I just seeing 2024 through rose-colored glasses? Thanks, Kevin in Reading, Pennsylvania." And then I guess playing off of this, Eric Scheinkoff. I always mess up Eric's last name. I'm sorry, Eric. Do you think Boone has the ability to make in-game adjustments that deviate from the analytics pre-game plans?
The second question.
What's your opinion on Boone?
I think it's tough for him to make in-moment decisions that are not analytical, that are deviations from what the plan is. But he's got a staff around him that hopefully makes that a little bit more easy. Yeah, I mean, to Kevin's point, like, yes, when you're winning, the manager disappears to an extent, right? Like it doesn't even matter. He's not really making a ton of decisions. The lineup has been relatively the same, especially the top, 6, 7. He did move Volpe up into that leadoff spot. Give credit for that, putting him in that position early and letting him, go through a slump and just keeping him there and letting him work through it. So yeah, I think that when you're looking at what he's doing right now, there's not really much to say negative about him. Macro, like taking a step back, because the team is just playing really well. And I guess when
we complain about Boone, it's about specific in-game decisions still. We still complain about those.
Well, that's what you complain about every manager, though, like, to be fair.
No, but last year we complained about Boone's rhetoric when the team was,
and that goes back to how the team's doing. Yeah.
No, I know that, but like Boone's, and I talked about this at length with Andy Martino last episode. Boone is the same, always positive, never going to air out his players in public, never even going to air out his players in a team setting. He will only have one-on-one conversations with players that when he's talking about something negative. He is never going to change whether the team is winning 100 games or losing 100 games. That's going to be him always. So to say that is working or not working, it's like it didn't work last year. It's working this year. So who knows, right? The players are performing this year. That's what I know. The players didn't perform last year.
And they're healthy.
And they weren't healthy last year, and they didn't perform last year. That's what we know. But I still think Boone's in-game decisions are head-scratching. Him trying to steal outs, him sticking with guys too long. All of those things, I don't feel like he has improved over the years. And I still feel like in a big game in the playoffs, I still am crapping my pants about what is he going to do to mess this game up. It's tied 2-2 in the 7th inning. How is Boone going to F this up?
Yeah, I don't have confidence in those areas yet. And again, like I said, when you're winning, it masks a lot of things. At the end of the day, like, I don't think he makes the team better. Like, that's just, like, to me, that's the bottom line. I don't think he makes the team better. I think there are other managers out there that can do things. But again, like, I could give a shit right now because the Yankees are going well. The players are playing well. And so, yeah, I'll give him some flowers right now. He's not screwing things up. He's letting guys play. He's putting them in positions to succeed. Great. I think the staff overall has done a good job this year. You know, new hitting coach, new approach. I like the new approach. I think there is a new approach. I don't know how much of that Juan Soto has to do with.
The players are the
you have an approach, though. You do have an approach, and when you put a guy like Juan Soto in the middle of your lineup, it changes things. It just does.
Verdugo, who doesn't strike out a ton.
Yeah. So the makeup is different, 100%. The players are healthy, knock on wood, right now. And yeah, there is, you know, if I'm looking at like who the guys I would look at, Anthony Volpe is one of them, and he's improved. We see him, like Judge was talking about. He's using the full field. He's using the opposite field, which to me is the right move for that player. So, however they got to that, whomever they said those things and you know, got to the point where he's using the whole field and trying not to be pull happy and you know, driving it to right side, like, that's a good decision. So there's nothing I can say negative right now about the coaching staff as a whole. In fact, it's all positive. And I think Matt Blake probably gets the most.
The pitching has been the standout thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, last question from Nick Brunetta. Who the F made our schedule? No day off in between New York to San Diego, but a day off between San Diego to Los Angeles. Make that make sense. Yeah. The scheduling off MLB. Day on the road trip going from San Diego, a 90-minute drive up to Anaheim makes no goddamn sense. I know the schedule is all done by an algorithm at this point, but did you ever see that 30 for 30 on the old couple that used to make the baseball schedule like into the 2000s?
No.
People think I'm joking when I say this. There was this old couple in Long Island who up until like, can you quickly Google this, Logan?
You're saying old couple, like a married couple?
An old married couple in their 80s made the Major League Baseball schedule into like the year 2002 or something nutty like that.
Is this the same people that owned the company that supplies the mud to Major League Baseball still from South Jersey on the Delaware River and it's the only mud that touches the baseballs, and it has been for
I don't know about the Delaware mud, but I know about this. There's a 30 for 30 about this baseball, this married couple that made the baseball schedule like into the modern age for some reason.
Baseball, hard changing things.
You find anything, Logan? What year did they stop doing it? 2004.
That's crazy.
Computers existed in 2004. Yeah, Nick, I agree.
Not for them. For them.
Makes no sense. I wonder if the players like the day off on the West Coast. Probably, but yeah,
especially for the guys that are out there. Judge, Stan, like those, you know, those guys are loving it because that's Stan or Judge is going back a little hometown visit with San Francisco here.
First time back in San Francisco. Well, no, the Yankees did play San Francisco last year.
Yeah, they did. He's been back.
No, they played at home though, not in San Fran.
Since the arson judge.
Yeah. All right. Thanks to everyone for submitting mailbag questions. If you want to submit yours, info@bronxpinstripes.com. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you again after the weekend series against the Giants.